All right, let's jump right into the high-stakes world of information security standards. Whether you're an IT leader, a compliance officer, or honestly just kind of fascinated by how massive global organizations lock down their most sensitive data, you are in exactly the right spot. In this explainer, we're going to decode the huge shifts happening in international cybersecurity frameworks, specifically the modernization of the ISO 27000 series. Plus, we really need to unpack a critical transition deadline that's looming over thousands of businesses worldwide right now.
So why do these standard updates matter so much right now?
Well, you just have to look at the battlefield. Nearly half of all organizations out there are getting hit with more cyber attacks right now than they did just 1 year ago. Think about it. And our total rush to embrace digital transformation, moving to the cloud, setting up remote work, plugging in AI, we've inadvertently blown our attack surfaces wide open. Modern business absolutely requires a modern defense, because the threats we're facing today are relentless and they're actively hunting for our blind spots.
Okay, let's really dive into this. When those modern threats actually manage to break through, the financial devastation is just staggering. The data shows the global average cost of a data breach has skyrocketed to $4.35 million. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That number doesn't even fully capture the reputational damage, the lost customer trust, or those crushing regulatory fines that always follow. This isn't just an IT problem anymore, right? It's an existential business risk. And your absolute best shields against these risks are the globally recognized ISO information security standards. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the InfoSec Standards Explained. What exactly are ISO 27001 and 27002?
Let's clear up what is probably the most common point of confusion in the entire cybersecurity industry, the difference between ISO 27001 and ISO 27002. Here's the absolute best way to think about this. ISO 27001 is your blueprint. It's the international standard that sets the rules for building a management system. And the absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that you can only get officially certified to ISO standards that end in a 1. Now, on the flip side, ISO 27002 is your toolkit. It's this highly detailed supporting guide that explains exactly how to implement the specific controls from your 27001 blueprint. You literally cannot get certified in ISO 27002. It's just there to help you build the thing.
Now, right at the very heart of that ISO 27001 blueprint is a concept called the ISMS, or Information Security Management System. And look, this isn't just some piece of software you install and forget about. It's a living framework of rules, policies, and processes. The whole philosophy here is continuous risk management. You identify the risks, set your objectives, grab the controls from your ISO 27002 toolkit to implement them, and then, and this is key, you continuously measure how they're doing to ensure they actually work.
Moving right along to Section 2, why ISO certification matters and how it actually protects the business.
We know the standard is super rigorous, right? But how does that translate into real-world business strategy? Well, there are 4 core, bottom-line benefits to rolling out an ISMS. First up, compliance. It helps you navigate messy legal requirements like GDPR or the NIS2 directive. Second, a huge competitive advantage. If you're certified and your competitor isn't, well, security-conscious clients are going with you every time. Third, it actually lowers costs. Think back to that $4.35 million breach cost. Stopping even one incident easily pays for your whole ISMS rollout. And finally, better organization. It forces rapidly growing teams to clearly spell out who manages what, so you completely avoid that classic scenario where everyone just assumed someone else was handling security.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 2022 Standard Updates. We are talking modern defenses for modern threats.
So as we established, threats are evolving constantly, which means our defenses have to evolve right alongside them. But what's really interesting about this update is that they didn't just pile on a bunch of extra work. They actually streamlined the whole framework. The total number of controls you have to manage dropped from 114 down to a much leaner 93. They pulled this off by merging the clunky older controls, tossing out the outdated ones, and completely modernizing the whole approach. Basically, they gave organizations a hyper-modern, incredibly efficient defense. Less really is more when it's organized this well.
To pull off that efficiency, the entire structure got a massive facelift. The older version had 14 domains that were honestly a bit disjointed. Now, the whole thing is categorized into 4 simple, intuitive themes: organizational, people, physical, and technological. This new setup makes it so much easier for different departments to instantly get what they're supposed to be doing. Like HR can look at this and immediately know, okay, we own the 8 controls under the people theme, stuff like onboarding and screening.
Meanwhile, the IT department can just focus on their 34 technological controls.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the framework has actually scratched that. It hasn't just caught up with reality, it's setting the new baseline. Within those 93 controls, we've got 11 brand new additions. We're talking mandatory controls for threat intelligence, locking down cloud services, data masking, data leakage prevention, and secure coding. The standard is looking reality in the eye and saying, hey, that old physical network perimeter? Yeah, it's completely dead. We live in the cloud and AI era now, and your management system actually has to reflect that with proactive protections.
All right, moving to Section 4, the ticking clock. Let's talk about the October 2025 deadline. Here is the deal. This transition is absolutely not optional, and the clock is loudly ticking. Let's walk through the timeline. The updated standards originally dropped back in October 2022. By mid-2023, organizations started officially getting certified against the new rules. Now, the governing bodies were nice enough to grant a 3-year grace period for companies to upgrade their existing ISMS, but that grace period completely ends on October 31, 2025. That's it. It's an absolute hard-stop transition deadline.
So, what happens if you miss that date? Honestly, it's pretty brutal. Any organization holding an older ISO 27001 certificate that hasn't successfully finished their transition audit by October 31st, 2025, their certificate just expires. Poof, gone. You don't get a friendly extension. You literally have to start the agonizing, incredibly expensive certification process completely from scratch. Plus, any client contracts that require you to be certified, those could be instantly breached.
Let's move to Section 5 and see how we actually tackle this, your transition roadmap, and exactly how to prepare.
Okay, so how do IT leaders actually get their organizations across this finish line in time? Well, here is your 5-step roadmap. Step 1. Do a gap analysis. Compare what you have now against the new 93 controls. Step 2. Update your risk management strategies and rewrite your Statement of Application, your SOA, so it perfectly lines up with the new framework. Step 3. Get your staff and your C-suite totally on board, because this needs real budget and culture shift, not just an IT patch. Step 4. Run some highly rigorous internal audits to catch any lingering blind spots. And finally, Step 5, engage your external certification body to do the official transition audit way before the deadline hits.
I really want to highlight this quote from Shirish Bapat over at the certification body LRQA. He says, approach this transition as an opportunity to not only update processes, but to genuinely enhance your cybersecurity posture. And he absolutely hits the nail on the head here. Please don't treat this 2025 deadline like some annoying compliance checkbox exercise. This is a massive, board-level opportunity to find your blind spots, bake in some modern threat intelligence, and actually build genuine digital resilience.
So we've covered the staggering cost of data breaches, the beautifully streamlined new structure of ISO 27001 and 27002, and the exact roadmap you need to execute. That clock is ticking really fast towards October 31st, 2025. So I'm going to leave you with this. Is your ISMS truly ready for the future? Seriously, don't wait until the last minute. Pull up those risk registers, get that gap analysis going today, and turn this mandatory transition into a massive competitive win. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.